My name is Mike Reynolds. I'm 47 years old. I used to be a naval engineer, but my family's connection to the sea goes back generations. We have this 5-acre plot on a rocky bend of the Monterey coast. Right at its heart is an old, sturdy stone boathouse. My grandfather, a former Coast Guard, built it back in the 1920s. People sometimes mistake it for a lighthouse. It's not, exactly, but it has always been a source of light. My father's advice always stuck with me. On the coast, it's not just the waves and the wind. Your property must also know how to protect you. These 5 acres are more than just land to me. They're the testing ground for my engineering soul. I've angled my solar panels to capture every ounce of sunlight, all year round. My wind turbines are custom-built to turn the coast's wild gales into clean electricity. My drinking water? It's all rain-fed. I really don't care what happens with the municipal lines. When the whole town blacks out, my light stays on. For years, my life was peaceful. Just me, my Labrador, Hooper, the sound of the waves and the cries of the gulls. But 4 years ago, things started to change. Up on the hill, they started building the Harbor View Estates, all glass walls and state-of-the-art architecture. And along with it came the arrogance of their community harmony. I pretty much ignored them until they came knocking on my door. About 6 months ago, the first letter arrived. No name on the envelope, just an embossed stamp. V Community Enrichment Committee. They claimed my old stone house was detracting from their estate's visual value, and they wanted to buy my land to build a community gazebo, one that would guarantee an exclusive ocean view for their residents. I ripped the letter up. Then a second one came, this time with an offer, $2.5 million. 2 weeks later, I got a personal visit. The committee president, Brenda Van Dyke, showed up in a sharp red blazer, reeking of expensive perfume and clutching a designer clipboard. She smiled and said, "Mr. Reynolds, we are here to add value." I looked at her calmly. "Ma'am, my land is not an accounting sheet. You cannot buy my family's history for this price." At my refusal, her polite smile vanished. As she was leaving, she said, "We are very strict about environmental standards. Some of your structures may require modification." The petty harassment began soon after. First, a yellow drone started hovering over my wind turbines. I knew they were measuring the height and angle of my solar array. One morning, a notice was taped to my workshop window. "Noise levels from rotation are intolerable. Disturbing community peace." I was just repairing an old ship engine, work that no one nearby could possibly hear. It was clear they were starting a paper war to wear me down, but I had a secret weapon, my engineering preparedness. I had weatherproof maritime cameras hidden in the rock crevices and inside my wind turbines, impossible for a normal person to spot. One day, Hooper started barking like crazy. I went outside and saw a surveyor placing a new chalk mark on the eastern border of my land, right where my water tank pipes ran underground. The moment he saw me, he packed up and sped off. 2 weeks later, that terrible morning came. I woke up to a deafening noise. Outside, workers were unloading trucks full of lumber and steel. They started building a massive, 10-foot-tall wooden wall directly in the path of my solar panels and wind turbines. Brenda was there, wearing a white hard hat, her eyes glinting with victory. "This is a sound and visual buffer wall," she announced. "Ancient structures like yours interfere with the premium lifestyle of our residents." I stared at that wall. It wasn't just blocking the view. It was an engineering attack. It was designed to cast a huge shadow over my solar panels during the most crucial hours of the day. It was also positioned to cut the coastal wind, which would slash my turbine's power generation by almost half. "You're cutting off my electricity," I yelled. Brenda just held up her clipboard. "We have permits, and this wall is built entirely on the HOA's boundary. You should review your property maps, Mr. Reynolds." I called the sheriff. The deputy just shook his head and said it was a land dispute. "Get a lawyer," he told me. As soon as they left, the workers rushed to finish the wall. By that afternoon, my boathouse was shrouded in shadow. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I retreated to my workshop. My anger was replaced by a cold, hard resolve. I started reviewing my camera footage. It was gold. In one clip, I saw Brenda instructing a foreman. When does the morning sun hit? Position the planks exactly so that the entire array is in darkness from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The conspiracy to cut off my power was undeniable. Next, I turned to the one thing I trusted even more than technology: history. I dug through my family's original deeds, the hand-drawn map from the 1920s, and old Coast Guard stamped papers. After hours of searching, I found it. A yellowed document titled Coastal Agreement for Navigational Aids. The agreement clearly stated, to ensure the functionality of the lighthouse, its supply route and fuel source must remain unobstructed by the natural light and wind of the coast. The document had the seal and signature of the county clerk from 1920. This deed was more powerful than any modern county record. I called my lawyer, Jenna. I have the video, I told her, and I have an agreement proving my legal right to light and air for my power systems is a century old. Jenna was calm. Mike, the video proves their intent. The agreement proves your right supersedes their claim. This isn't just a boundary dispute. It's a fight for a historical easement. Instead of posting on Facebook, I went to the local Maritime History and Sailing Forum. I uploaded the video clips, pictures of the wall, and a beautiful image of my old boathouse. The title was, HOA Extinguishes 100-Year-Old Lighthouse Light, Brenda Van Dyke's Fraud. The reaction was explosive. Sailors, historians, the Preservation Committee, they were all enraged. They took up my fight. Brenda's lawyer quickly sent a cease and desist for defamation. I just laughed it off, but Brenda hadn't given up. One night, Hooper's low growl woke me up. I went outside. 2 men were near the wall, trying to cut my main power cable. I calmly slung my 12-gauge shotgun over my shoulder. It was legally owned, clean, and fully loaded. I walked toward them slowly. "Good evening," I said flatly. They froze. One of them dropped a pair of wire cutters. "You are on my land, and what you are doing is a felony. This cable is my home's lifeline. If you harm it 1 inch further, I will respond according to the law." I didn't raise the gun. My presence was enough. They fled into the night. The next day, Jenna filed an emergency injunction. The case went to Judge Dunley, a cranky old veteran. He immediately ordered a stop to all construction. The courtroom smelled of old carpet and burnt coffee. On one side was Brenda, her lawyers, and their fake community vision. On the other was me, Jenna, and my century-old documents spread across the table. Brenda's attorney argued the wall was temporary, that its intent was good, and that I was exaggerating my solar needs. Then Jenna stood up. Her voice was sharp as glass. She played the video of Brenda's instructions, proving the explicit plot to cut off my light. Then came the bombshell. The HOA's permits were fraudulent. They had lied about the wall's height, and the engineering signature they used belonged to someone whose license had been suspended for 5 years. Finally, Jenna handed the judge the 1920 Coastal Agreement. Judge Dunley read it in silence. Then he rapped his pen. Mr. Reynolds' property has the right to light and air under a historical covenant. This wall construction is not merely a violation of environmental code. It is a clear breach of this agreement. This is not a misunderstanding. This is fraud. The judge's final ruling was decisive. The HOA had to stop all activity immediately. The wall had to be completely dismantled within 7 days, and all underground cables repaired. The HOA had to pay all legal costs, and a criminal investigation into fraud. And harassment was initiated against Brenda Van Dyke. She was arrested that week. Her mugshot became a local headline. County workers arrived and swiftly tore down the 10-foot monstrosity. My boathouse was bathed in sunlight and coastal wind once again. With the compensation from the court, I upgraded my entire solar and wind system and repaired the old stonework. Where the wall had stood, I placed a solid stone block with a bronze plaque. It reads, "The Breezeway." Established 1920. Protected 2025. Unconquered. I know people like Brenda will always exist. But my boathouse will continue to shine its light toward the sea. And that light, that wind, they remind me every single day that I'm still keeping the tradition my family taught me alive. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more.